Welcome to another Warcraft 3 audio commentary. Tonight we will be watching the second game from Dog Cup. Or Dog... from Dog Cup. From Doge Cup. Doge Cup. I don't know. Let's introduce our players. This is Twisted Meadows once again, and down at the 5.5 clock position, we have our blue undead. He's spawning in. His name is... 120. At least I think it is. His in-game name is Awake and Pray, but his name was listed as 120. So I'm assuming we're gonna call him 120 because, you know, I feel like maybe that's a respectful way to do it. I don't know. But that's what we're gonna be doing. And let's watch and introduce up at the 2 or 3 o'clock position. Who is it? None other than the purple orc, Fu himself. Indeed, he's playing orc. I don't know why. Not a clue why. But he is playing orc, so that's cool. And he's doing it against undead. I couldn't imagine why he would pick orc against undead. It blows my mind. I can't. There's really just no. Oh, he's going Blade Master. It's all clear to me now. I don't know. I don't know how imbalanced this matchup is at the moment. It seems to be pretty okay, I'll be honest. It does seem to be pretty okay. Whether that's just because the meta game has kind of gone into the undead's favor, or just because there's not like a lot of orc versus undead that we're seeing anymore. I really don't know what it is, but it seems okay. I may change my mind after watching Thu dominate this guy. I don't know if that's what's gonna happen, I'll be honest, but I'm just guessing here. I'm just guessing. He's going for a Ted Fiends build, so he's gonna get the goals early on. Get the Fiends out later. That's always where you build the altar, and then the ziggurat, and then you build the crypt, and then you build the graveyard, then you build the shop, you build the 2 goals, that gets you 3 goals, and then you have a Fiend, and then it's boom, boom, shabam, damn, you're done. What do you know? You have a whole moat. I don't know how that works. Anyway, so we're probably gonna see the Blade Master go for the tome creeps. It's what you tend to do, but he's not gonna do that apparently. I guess it's too predictable. He's got 1 circlet, sold the TP. He could go for the other circlet. I don't know what he's gonna do. I'm gonna be honest. Maybe he's gonna go for the null creep. That looks like that is quite a plausible thing. He's gonna run in here, get the crit to pop open. There you go, 40 damage extra on that null warden, and just, you know, bring the grunt in and start to doing some damage. Always good to do. And he's not getting spotted just yet by the Death Knight. The Death Knight's looking for him. And what you can do is kind of, there's only so many places that someone can creep in the early game. And so what we just saw, we didn't really look at it too well, was the undead scouting for it. He was scouting all the common places, so he was actually able to find the undead, or rather the orc, early pretty easily. Didn't quite get there as nice or as early as he might have wanted to steal some XP, but he is going to be able to stop this from going down the null overseer, and he's probably going to get a kill on this grunt. Just 2 coils on it will kill it. Sometimes you'll see people get really greedy and just go for the chop coil, and in that case it's not a bad idea, but a lot of times you'll see, maybe in this case we might see a deny. Probably, maybe not, I don't know. Looks like we're not. He's just blocking. He's gonna make him, he's saying you're gonna have to use a coil if you want to kill this. And the Death Knight doesn't want to do that. He definitely needs the XP. He needs to get the XP. He's trying to do this. There's going to be a deny on this. He's just coil it already. No, he's not going to coil it. He's going to let it die to creeps. That means he doesn't get any XP. I think it's well worth a coil. Picking up an extra 40 XP or whatever is really worth the early mana, because it's just worth it. You're not gonna, when you only have like 2 coils left anyway, you're not gonna kill another grunt unless you get really lucky and you get like another creepjack, which is unlikely. This Blade Master, however, is incredibly low. If he just hangs out around that shop up here, he's going to make it very difficult for that Blade Master to get in there and get healed. He does have plenty of mana for Windwalking in, but if he was hanging out around... Oh, he doesn't have Dustner. I was assuming he had Dust. I should have looked. If you have Dust and you're hanging around, then you can kind of just guess and use your Dust and maybe randomly get a kill on a Blade Master, which is pretty good. But by the time he's gone over there, not really going to happen because he's got enough to survive. Because level 1 coil, Death Coil, only does 70 damage to a hero. Does 100 to a grunt, but does 70 to a hero. Now we're going to see the undead trying to creep, and the orc's going to say, oh, you want to creep now, huh? Well, I'm going to do what you did to me, and I'm going to harass you. It did end up losing a grunt. Losing a grunt is losing 200 gold in the early game. An orc needs that money. They have a build that's well built. It's well defined. You do certain things at certain times. You know, you build your altar, you build your grunts, you get them. There's different ways you can do it, but no matter how you do it, it's well defined. It gets you to tier 2, gets you your Shadow Hunter, gets you your tier 2 tech. Losing a grunt in the early game sets you back 200 gold, because really 4 grunts is what you want in your mid game army. It's a good number, and it helps you significantly in your position. You can go with 3. You can. And sometimes we see orcs just take the loss and go with 3 and deal with it. But you want 4. You have to be pretty confident. Thu might be the kind of confident guy who says, balls to it, we're going with 3. I have no idea. It looks like that's the case. But most orcs will get back up to 4. It depends. Some people like Fly. I want to say Fly. I think it was Fly. Will go up to like 7 or 8 grunts because they're cheap units. And they're fantastic against fiends. They really are. Once the Lich comes out, then they become less effective without raiders and stuff. But you know, once you get Spirit Link and you upgrade them to have an extra 100 life, it's just so good. It is just so good. Anyway, vying for the XP for that Null Overseer right there, it's going to go to a Death Coil Steel. Well, I say a Steel. It was kind of the Undead Screep in the first place, but he's going to pick it up, and that means he's getting level 2, which gives him Unholy Aura. Vital against the Blade Master, absolutely vital, because the reason that you need to have the Unholy Aura is that, one, the most important thing that some people may not realize is that undead units do not heal when they're not on Blight. They don't heal at all, but they will heal with Unholy Aura, which gives them regeneration, which is passive regeneration. It's not a lot, but it adds up quite quickly when you're dealing with constant harass from the Blade Master or grunts or whatever, and it means you don't have to heal by death coiling, which saves mana, and mana is super important. He's kind of faking with this grunt here. He's saying, if my grunt's around, maybe my Blade Master is. Maybe you can't kill the Rock Golem because I've got this guy out. Also, he's gonna pick up a Forest Troll Berserker to just kind of make this even harder for Thu to creep. And there's the dust. He's just trying to say he's going to go for the steal, but he's not going to quite make it. That would have been pretty impressive with the Forest Troll Berserker there. I don't know if he did that just because he lost a grunt, because otherwise I don't know how he has the supply to get a Forest Troll Berserker this early in the game. When again, orcs are very much planned out how they play in the mid game. You have a special orc composition that you want. Throwing in a Berserker would not make sense over a grunt unless you lost a grunt, I would say. So I would assume that's what kind of is Thu is thinking here. He's just kind of adapting to the play. I say that maybe he does that standard. I've never seen anyone do that before. But adaptions are fine, they make sense. Tauren Chieftain being the second hero here going to be picked up. Always go with Aura first, because you're going to go creep it. You want to get that to level 3 pretty much as fast as possible. It's kind of like the Panda. It's really effective with level 2 Stomp. Panda is really effective with level 2 Breath of Fire. Not that effective with level 1. I mean, it's okay. And Stomp it okay. 1 is okay. The thing about Stomp is that it gives a bigger stun and a much bigger radius. So it affects a lot more units whenever you have higher levels of Stomp. Level 3 Stomp is ridiculous. It stomps like the entire screen almost, and it's a very long stun. Compared to a fairly small stun in a fairly small area at level 1. So you really want to creep him up. And once he's crept up, it becomes very difficult to deal with. Very difficult. I am the person who would generally say that Tauren Chieftain is much harder to deal with than the Shadowhunter as the undead, but it changes the dynamic of the fight dramatically. When you're playing against the Shadowhunter, you can kind of sit back and try to kill heroes. You know, especially I like to see players who will go like Dreadlord or Cryptlord, or most commonly the Dark Ranger for silence. And over here we're going to see he's a Black Citadel, so he should have an orb, and just going to pick up the Dark Ranger for silence. It's really good against these heroes, but this becomes a nuke fest to the death. I mean, against the Shadowhunter, getting your kills is something you can kind of passively do. You can go for the units if it makes more sense. Against Tauren Chieftain builds, you pretty much want to kill the Tauren Chieftain and the Blade Master, and you don't give a damn about anything else, because those two heroes will just destroy. They will decimate your army. I mean, decimate. They will reduce it by a 10th repeatedly. Which decimate's not that interesting. It's not that destructive, actually. But they will continuously just shred your army. So the thing is that they don't have the sustain, because they don't have the Shadowhunter's healing wave, and they don't have the hex. They do have the stun. So if they get you caught in a bad stun, that's a pretty good amount of sustain. But if you split your army up properly as the undead player, you keep your fiends and your heroes away from each other. Big mistake. Do not ever let your Death Knight get stunned alongside your Lich or your Dark Ranger. Don't ever do it, because that'll cost you a second hero. Guarantee it. You ever do that, it'll cost you a hero. And we're gonna see Troll Headhunters coming out. Is he gonna go for, he has a Fortress build, so he's gonna have a Lightning Orb, and he's also gonna go for the upgraded Troll Headhunters at some point, because they do a lot of DPS. I guess that makes sense why he's going for Troll Berserkers now, so never mind, I'll shut up. Those are for DPS build, actually. They do fulfill the same kind of role as the Troll Berserkers. Anyway, so we saw immediately lots of focus on this Forest Troll, Tauren Chieftain rather, and here comes a big stomp. It's going to stomp all of those 2 Fiends and the Lich and the Dark Ranger. He's got a Fiend over here. He's got to be careful. He's trying to keep that away from dying, but it's going to been taken down by the Blade Master. Got to be really careful. These Kodo Beasts each have a Fiend in him, but the Tauren Chieftain does get nuked down. Level 2 being picked up now by the Lich, and he's going to immediately go for the Blade Master. That's really his only other choice. However, the Blade Master doesn't have any kind of survivability options here. He's going to go for the fight. He's going to make a TP happen, but that means he's going to lose 2 Fiends to those Kodo Beasts. He's still trying to kill that Blade Master, but it is at the shop, and it is actually going to be just enough HP for him to live. So there you go. That means that the Orc is... Did he win the fight? I don't know, but it's even. It's fairly, I would say that was a fairly even thing, because he forced a TP. He definitely got 2 Fiends in the Kodo Beast, which is fantastic. I don't know why the other Kodo Beast is. Actually, he might have lost. Yeah, no, there it is. It was like he didn't. I would have saw one die. So he's got those 2 Fiends. That's, you know, that's like 500 gold-ish, and then like almost 100 wood, just rough estimate terms. You don't have to do the exact calculations. So he lost the Tauren Chieftain, that's bad. But the most important reason that, even though it looked like that Undead lost the fight, because he lost a lot more, the most important thing is not even that he killed the Tauren Chieftain. The most important thing, in my opinion, is that he made that greater heal pot go away, and he really taxed the survivability items that the Orc had. You almost never will win against Blade Master Tauren Chieftain in one fight. Almost never, because the reason that the way you play this, like I was talking about, you got to go for the kill. You go die hard for the kill on those heroes. Once the heroes are dead, you can finish off the rest of the army. The Orc knows that, and that's why they go for these kind of units like Troll Berserkers. These are units that are very high DPS and very low life. They're not going to survive against focus fire or anything like that. But it doesn't really matter, because as the undead, you don't care about those units. If those heroes are alive, you can't win the fight. It's that simple. You have to either remove them from the fight by nuking them like crazy, or you're killing them. And then the rest of the Orc army will die to your heroes. That's how it works. That's the dynamic. So when the Orc has survivability items like the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability and Healing Scrolls and big HP pots and all that, killing it means that you're going to have a very hard time winning that fight. But if you take a fight and you make them use all that, and then you recoup, and then you come back for a second fight when they don't have those survivability items, that's where you can win. But here, this is going to be a really bad stomp if it happens, but he's going to get silenced instead. We're going to see one of those statues being taken down immediately, and here comes, he's working on a stomp, and that would have actually probably gotten a kill on something if that Blade Master and stuff weren't attacking a Frost Shielded Death Knight. Not really the best idea, I don't know. But you can see he's immediately focusing on the Blade Master. Second statue going down. Using the units to kill statues is really, really good, because these things give sustain to the undead. You can see how that dynamic works. The undead wants to force 2 fights consecutively with a short break in between them, allowing the undead to heal up. That is accomplished by statues, so if you kill the statues, you can just kind of see how these strategies are kind of mirroring each other and how the goals for each player kind of lines up. When the Orc's on their retreat, you can pick units off. That's another thing. You don't normally see the Orc go on the retreat quite like that, but if the Orc does go on retreat, he wants to regroup, he wants to go buy items, he wants to get those potions, and he wants to get those scrolls. That's what he wants to do. It's really important for him. Kodo Beast didn't really get any Fiends there. It's not a big deal. He doesn't really care. Going for the buildings again, not a big deal. The Undead's just trying to force a fight. That's all he's doing right here. He's got an Abomination out. It's good. It's going to provide him some DPS against the army. Just kind of a more sustaining army because it's big and heavy. Got to be careful not to get it eaten by a Kodo Beast. He's doing a lot of nuking on that Tauren Chieftain. A really nice micro to keep that Kodo Beast away from the Abomination for as long as he did. But ultimately, it's going to die, or rather get eaten. You're going to see some mad DPS on that Lich. He's going to get a Frost Armor. He should have had that Frost Armor up a little bit more proactively, probably. Troll Berserkers in their crazy mode. That Death Knight taking mad damage. He's gonna get stomped and killed. Ouch. And good game is called, because the rest of the undead army is forfeit at that point, because there's no way to get out of that, and he was gonna lose all of it to basically, because you have an Orc army that has Endurance Aura, which makes them pretty fast, has Speed Scrolls, makes them even faster, and has Ensnare, which can just kind of ensnare stuff, has a Blade Master and a Torrent. So yeah, but I think that was a pretty fun game. It ended the way that you tend to see it end. If you don't get those kills on those heroes, then you tend to just eventually lose. Your sustain when it wears off, when you run out of mana, you run out of ways to stay alive against the Stomp and the Blade Master critical strikes, and just the whole focus of the Orc army, then that's when the undead loses. So, but you can see, in that case, I hope that you could see kind of the dynamic of that fight, because that's a really interesting fight that looks pretty imbalanced. It's not quite as imbalanced as it looks. If the undead had higher level heroes, he would have done much better job, and that's why you'll see it's XP in that map is a huge, or in that matchup is just a huge deal. I do think it's a little probably. I don't want to talk about balance. I don't like talking about balance, but I will say that it was a good matchup. It was fun dynamics. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. That was the second game for the night. I know we're ending a little bit early. I don't know. We don't really have enough time to do another replay because I got to go to bed, but I think two solid games, so hopefully you guys enjoyed them. So that's all I'm gonna really have to say. So thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you next time. Have a great night. Goodbye.